everyone. This is the Popcorn Heroes review of a Netflix original called The Witcher.
A Netflix original. Yes.
I am Armando. With me, as always, is Pedro.
Hello.
God's gift, Orlando.
Toss a coin to your podcasters.
Oh, podcast of plenty.
Why did you start the pod like that? I told you to.
Oh, yeah, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to do it.
Oh,
Toss a
no.
coin.
Well, you did it, so you
But you're the
Oh,
the singing
podcast of plenty.
you're the host. You're supposed to start it off like that.
No, I wouldn't want him to sing. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
I think we did all right.
My voice is too beautiful, so.
It's true. It's
But
true.
doesn't want to,
It's so beautiful. People would shut this off immediately to avoid falling in love, of course.
Of course. We are reviewing the Netflix show called Witcher.
Yes.
It premiered with 8 episodes.
Yes. With the lovely Henry Cavill as the Geralt of Rivia.
And he looks so good in this show, dude. He was so swole.
I mean, he's always fucking massive.
Yeah, he is massive. But like you saw it more in this show, though. It was just,
I guess, yeah.
that bathtub scene.
Of course, the iconic bathtub scene that's famous from the game.
Anyways, Pedro, short premise.
The short premise is this follows a Witcher called Geralt of Rivia, and a Witcher is a mutant with special abilities meant to kill all forms of creatures for money. He's a monster bounty hunter with
There you go.
powers, essentially.
Nice.
So,
it.
it's just him wandering the land and getting into shenanigans.
Yeah, essentially.
Without getting into spoilers, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Shenanigans.
And this season is his adventures.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Orlando, 1 out of 5. Small thoughts.
I give it 4 coins.
Whoa!
Toss 4 coins to your Witcher.
Your heroes are plenty.
All right. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. At first, I was like, this is okay. I wasn't really feeling the first episode or two. But after like a while, after like the story started coming together and I started realizing a few things of like the plot, I really felt like it came to its own. I felt like Geralt, Henry Cavill did a great job as Geralt, as playing the games. Like his voice is like pretty much on par with like the video game voice.
Shit.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's it.
That was good. And so yeah, I felt
When that first happened, by the way, I was like, oh shit, this is awesome. I can't believe you said that shit. Because they don't usually do that. Go ahead, Orlando.
yeah. I think he's the best character in the show by far. And it gives it kind of like a Game of Thrones kind of vibe, and I think they nail it for the most part. I like all the fantasy elements. So yeah, overall great show.
I also agree with Orlando, 4 out of 5. But I highly disagree with what you just said about the Game of Thrones comparison. It's nothing like Game of Thrones.
There's nothing like Game of Thrones, Orlando. How dare you?
How dare they?
How dare they?
I don't think it has anything similar to Game of Thrones, except from this medieval setting. But other than that, it has nothing to do with Game of Thrones. Because Game of Thrones, its magic was very subtle. And in The Witcher, magic is so important to the world in the universe. Like, it's highly important. So I don't see the comparisons at all. Like I dislike when people say that it's like Game of Thrones. Like,
It's like a pet peeve of his. I've
like,
heard him say it.
I'm just like, no, it's not like Game of Thrones at all.
Fight me.
Yeah, I worked like it's like Game of. It's not like Game of like from the other room.
It's not like Game of Thrones at all because it just doesn't have only because it's set in medieval times. It's like saying, oh, it's like Lord of the Rings. No, it's not like fucking Lord of the Rings. Or saying like Game of Thrones is like Lord of the Rings. No, it's not like Lord of the Rings. No, man.
I get it.
It's only common thing is the medieval setting.
Look what you did. Look what you did.
Anyways,
I knew that was coming. As soon as you said it, I looked at him and he went. He tilted his head to side.
So I really enjoyed the show. I agree with what Orlando said, like in the first few episodes, but I didn't think it was boring. I just like, what the fuck is going on? It was my thoughts. I'm like, I don't understand this world right now, and I never played the games, so I never or read the books, so I didn't know what the fuck was happening. So I was kind of like, damn, what is this? What is that? Who is this? I was getting annoyed because I had more questions than answers. But by like episode 3 and 4, the story starts making sense, and the world itself starts making sense. starts making sense. So it just felt, and then I started getting it. I started understanding the whole thing. So that's when I started enjoying it more. But I definitely, if you're gonna watch it, at least watch like the up to 3 or 4 to understand what's happening. And then of course, a lot of people complain about the acting on the show itself. I don't mind the acting, except for like some characters, but they're irrelevant to the story. But apart from that, I think everybody did a really good job. Henry Cavill is a bright spot in the show. He did really good job with girls, and my thing is like, how the fuck did he sustain that voice throughout the entire show? You know what I'm saying?
Acting.
You know what I'm saying? Like this motherfucker drink water after every take and shit. I was like, damn, he did a really good job with that whole voice, and I think the way he personified Geralt was also pretty good, because from the clips I seen of the games, he personified it really well. So I liked Ciri, the actress Ciri. I enjoyed her stuff. I enjoyed the mages. Yennefer, I enjoyed her too. She was pretty cool. So yeah, that's my small thoughts.
Cool.
Pedro.
Now I toss 3 coins to The Witcher. I give it a 3 out of 5. I liked it, but I am one of those people. I did not like the acting. 90% of the acting to me was like, come on, man. This was like I was watching Hercules: The Legendary Journeys or Xena Warrior Princess level.
No way.
Yes,
dude, you're
dude.
exaggerating.
Nope, it's that level.
No way.
It's that level right there.
You're taking it too
so
far now.
I felt like it was that, but with a bigger budget. But it felt like that level. I'm like, man.
It felt campy to you?
It felt campy. It felt campy. There's parts where they're trying to be really serious, and then they get super cheesy out of the blue. And I'm like, this is weird. And it reminded me of those old shows. They couldn't fucking pick a thing.
A tone.
And I do disagree with you that Geralt isn't the best character. The best character is Yennefer. Yennefer to me was the best character. I liked her acting. I liked her arc. Again, I'm like Armando, where I haven't read anything or played anything at all. I've just seen clips here and there. And I thought she was the best character, the best arc. And she was the one that I was kind of rooting for the whole time, like her journey. I thought Geralt was a very boring character, and a lot of people have said that he's like that in the games as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's like that.
Yeah, is the essentially like the basic, whatever. Just like fucking pay me. Fuck you, pay me, and I'll do a mission or whatever. And every once in a while, my conscience or my moral compass will take charge and take me in a direction. but yeah, so he was good. But I don't think he was the best character in there. But he was definitely needed, because it's better to see all the stuff happen around him and him just kind of be neutral. It's kind of cool to see that. But a lot of the acting to me was like, get the fuck out of here. Especially, I just looked up his name, Jaskier, the Bard. I fucking hated the Bard.
I got used to the Bard.
I like him.
The only thing good about the Bard was the song.
Yeah, toss a coin.
Because the song, which
so catchy.
Which the first time I heard it, I didn't like it. I'm like, man, this song sucks.
Because then you heard it 5 times, you're like, oh my god, it's all good.
Yeah, after I heard it a few times, I'm like, okay, it is kind of catchy. And I'm like, all right, I got you.
My thing with the Bard is that I hated him at the beginning, but then I got used to the fact that he's just there for the relief.
Mm-hmm.
I found him to me, he was like a jester,
Yeah.
And
He was definitely that stereotype, that
he made sense
archetype.
to me. Yeah, he made sense to me after a few episodes, but he's not there that often. Well, he's in there like maybe like 4 episodes,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, if it wasn't for him, you would have never. Oh,
Wait, we're not getting into it.
anyways,
Let's get into the spoilers of it.
and that's it, Pedro.
Yeah, that's it. I'll get into more of my stuff when we get deep into it.
Okay, Orlando, would you recommend it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in terms of like Netflix shows, the budget is really good, so it actually looks really good. It doesn't feel cheap. And if I don't think Netflix does have any like sci-fi shows like in this like not sci-fi, but
Lost in Space.
not like sci-fi. I meant like fantasy. Yeah, because science fiction is different. But yeah, like fantasy. There's like no fantasy kind of shows that Netflix has that's really renowned. So this is actually. If you do like Game of Thrones, I know it's not like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings or any of that kind
Amazon's
of stuff.
gonna have Lord of the Rings.
But
does-
you're thinking it's a gateway drug.
It
into
does scratch that certain itch that you're looking for.
The medieval itch. Why don't you just say the medieval itch?
You're being a medieval bitch right now.
Oh,
Thanks. Say I'm an old bitch.
tossing insult to Armando.
The douchebag of plenty.
Oh,
All right, yeah.
Cool,
But yeah,
man.
I think it's a good show.
Yeah, I recommend it. I've been recommending it to a lot of people.
right. And a lot of people disagree with you.
It is what it is, man. You know, you win some, you lose some. I mean, the only person who hasn't liked it at work is Miguel. I wish he was here so he could talk shit about it.
It's
But-
stupid. That's what he would say.
He's like,
It's stupid.
it's too childish, he says. I'm
Yes,
just like,
which I agree.
I don't agree with that. Pedro, would you recommend it?
I do not recommend it yet.
Yet.
I don't think it's a
Shit.
bad show. So let me clarify. Obviously, I gave it a 3, which means I did enjoy it. But to me, this isn't the show to get them into stuff like that. Like Stranger Things, I'll be like, oh yeah, watch it. You're kind of into like horror, science fiction. Bam.
I think anybody should watch.
Yeah. But like get into it. But this one, it's like, oh, you're trying to get into fantasy, but you're not really into it. This isn't the show for you. At least not this season. Maybe the second season will be better. But I can't honestly recommend it just yet. Because even I was like a little iffy about it. It took me a few episodes to get into it, and even then, I just kind of stayed slightly on it. It was only the ending where I was just like, now we're talking. But it was too little, too late for me.
Pedro
but-
only cares about action.
Not really, but I'll get to that.
All right.
I mean, you might be onto something with the episodes I liked, but we'll get into that.
All right, ladies and gents, we're going to get into spoilers. Spoilers ahead. If you've seen it, follow us along in this little journey. If you haven't, pause it, look at the time. This is where we are. Or you can just stick around. Who cares?
Stick around.
All right.
Stick around.
Spoilers ahead. Spoilers. 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 Spoilers.
Cool.
Go, Pedro. You say you have a lot of gripes.
I wouldn't say a lot of gripes, but okay. So, the first 2 episodes, I really wasn't feeling, and it's not because. So I know you were the ones that mentioned it, but a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's because you didn't know what was going on, and you weren't aware of the multiple timelines that were converging." I'm okay with that because
I didn't care about that.
because I love Westworld. No, but that was whenever I said, "Oh, I didn't like the first few episodes." They say, "Oh, it's because you didn't know what was going on." No, it's not because I didn't know what was going on, because I didn't know what was going on in Westworld, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
So this just had to do with just the way it was written. It wasn't. I don't know. It just didn't keep me interested.
Yeah.
The stuff that was going. I know this is based off books, or it's based off stories, so I can't really say too much because it's probably like, for all I know, it's good adaptations of the stories, but to me, they just weren't. They didn't translate well on screen.
Yeah.
Um,
For me, it was just that the first few episodes, I didn't understand the world. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. You don't really notice the different timelines.
right.
For me, because you just thought it was all linear. But for me, what it was is just I didn't understand the universe, because when you first watch like Westworld, that has fucking 1,000, 3 timelines or whatever.
Right.
You understand the world. You're introduced to the world very like, hey, this is a theme park that is a Western theme park.
Okay.
That's it. You're like, oh, I get what's happening. These are robots and all this shit. You understand the world very quickly.
Okay.
This one is just a lot of little stuff that was happening that you're like, oh, who's that? Who's that person? Why does that mean anything? When you meet when you in the first episode, when you meet the wizard that wanted to kill Renfrey.
Stragaborn.
Yeah, Stragaborn. When you meet him, like, who the fuck is this guy?
Right.
Why is he important?
Well, you know what? I even ended the show saying, "Who the fuck is this guy? Why is he important?" So that didn't change.
He's one of the oldest mages. And
Right,
You
but-
notice that when he's with the council of mages.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, so it's just like, who the fuck is the guy? Who the fuck is Renfrey? And like, you start like, what's going on in this world? Who are these mages? And who?
But again,
who
it
is
still
this?
ends. Who the fuck is Renfrey? So pretty much all the questions you just have, I still ended with what the fuck.
Well, essentially, for what I've heard, is that they didn't develop Renfrey's story well enough, because she had a bigger part
Uh-huh.
in Geralt's life. But I guess they didn't want to do that because it would waste too much time.
Even though it's 8 episodes.
Yeah, but I think her story it's like every episode is like a story of Geralt, but her Renfrey's was a ongoing story.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, who cares? So when I first noticed that the timelines, that we were on different timelines, right?
Was in 3.
Yeah, when Yennefer first turned into the beautiful version of herself.
Yes.
when she walks into the ball.
Hot Yennefer.
Yeah. So
Right. She walks into the bar, and then you see the prince that will soon be.
yeah, the prince, which is the old man from the episode of his little girl, is the that monster. And I
Yep.
was just like, oh, shit.
King Foltest.
Yeah, because he was in episode 2, right?
I don't remember him in episode 2. No.
I know he was.
They were all introduced in 3. All those characters.
Okay. So that's when I first noticed. Oh shit! This is different timelines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is the episode where you realize it. And funny enough, that's one of my favorite episodes. That one and the last one were my favorites because this one had that where you find out it's all coming together, but it's also like interesting because there's so much stuff going on. Like I don't know, it just kept me interested.
But you know what's funny? A lot of people didn't notice that.
Really?
That was that prince.
Well, so the first thing that I noticed before that was they did something. I think it was in the second episode. They mentioned that this person overthrew the king, which is the Nilfgaard or something, or Niflheim.
Yeah,
Nilfgaard. Nilfgaard. And then in that episode, they mentioned, oh, he's building up a reputation. He might overthrow it. And I'm like, didn't this happen already? And that's what made me go, there's something going on here. And I was like, okay, yeah. I thought there was some time travel shit going on. I thought it was getting weirder, but I was like, oh, okay, it's multiple timelines. I got you.
Rewatching it, you notice more things ahead of time.
I mean, it's clear when like it becomes evident to everyone. It's when the episode where Geralt meets the queen, and then
Right.
she asks, "Yeah, that's like when it's clear to everybody."
Right. Which is the episode after that, which is 4. But
It's
a lot
4?
of people, yeah, that's 4.
I thought it was like 5.
Yeah, 4 was the Child of Surprise type thing.
Yeah, it's one of that episode. That's when I realized.
Which
it.
I thought that was a good scene, but the rest of the episode was whatever. But episode 3 to me was the one where he fights the Striga, and it has that where you first find out that the timelines are different. I really liked that episode, and it actually showed him, how powerful he is. It showed him actually drinking his stuff because they didn't really show how he got his eyes like that before. I knew enough of Witcher to know that was it.
Yeah.
So that you actually got to see him do all of that. But yeah, to me, that was when the show shined. That and the last episode with the full siege. Those are the episodes where it all shined because that was pretty much the ending for Yennefer's transformation, her story. You get to see what all of that built for, was going towards. Like she was pretty much selfish the entire show for obvious reasons. And then at the end, she just decides to become selfless and starts defending like an entire city. And everyone, there with her. So,
Orlando, you've played the games. How is Yennefer in?
I mean, so I've only played Witcher 3, and so for the most part, you're looking for Yennefer. So you don't really interact with her in that sense, but she is like she's part of a council, and she's like very like diplomatic in that sense. So I guess she becomes
She joins the council then.
yeah, she becomes that eventually. So like it's a different. I didn't even know that she was first started off with like a hunchback and like was like basically like this like ugly person. I didn't know that. It's clear though that like in the games that like Yennefer, Geralt, and Ciri, that's like a family unit. It's clear that like they're basically the parents. That's like their daughter, their adopted daughter.
right.
So like
So seeing the Ciri here, you were like, oh, that's her.
yeah.
Like that'll grow up to be her eventually.
Yeah. So, but it's weird because they don't really they kind of explain, but not really like her powers and like where she gets it from.
I still don't understand her powers.
Yeah,
like-
I don't really understand it too
Because
much
her
either.
mom had it, so it's just like it's not from like the weird like coupling of the
Like,
two.
nobody made them.
Right.
Made her.
Well,
what
she said
is.
it skipped a generation. So obviously the family's like imbued with like powers.
Powers,
But-
yeah.
So like
How did it skip a generation though? It skipped her, like the queen.
It skipped the queen. She pretty much the queen's mother had it, and then it skipped the queen, and it went to the daughter.
And then the daughter's daughter.
Yeah, and then the daughter's daughter.
Yeah, so it's other than that, yeah, so I do agree. I feel like that part where she does become selfless is a reflection on like what the game represent in the future.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I was like, man, this was what I was watching the entire show for her journey. This wasn't, even though the show's called The Witcher, I didn't stay for The Witcher. I stayed for Yennefer. Like her journey. That to me was the interesting part. Like seeing her change, seeing her, even like that cat and mouse type Batman Catwoman thing that they had going on, where it was like, oh, We meet up, we fuck, whatever. Fuck you, I hate you. Oh, hey, what's up? You know.
So I asked Amanda this question. So the episode where he, the Jin, like is like basically like, consuming her, and like he has to like uses like his final wish
Yes.
to get rid of it.
Uh-huh.
He wishes something about her, but they don't. What does he wish to like always be with her or something? And then like that's when like in the next episode. Episodes later when they fight the dragon, she's just like, oh, this is all a lie because you wished it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. So I assumed that it was just you need to say, please save her. But I think she's thinking that, oh no, you just wish for us to be together forever.
I think it's something like that because I think the way he reacted was like, I had to, like I had to do this, you know. So I think it was like maybe I'll protect her or like please keep her by my side, you know.
Mm-hmm. I'm literally looking up what was the last wish. So
Yeah, I'm looking that up too. So apparently the writer left that in the air always in his books. People have like made, they've made like connections to that,
yeah.
but he never really fully explains what his wish
yeah, it says
was.
here, he says, I just wanted to make it so that the Jinn leaves and she's safe, and the rest is up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of made it. The show makes it seem though like he wished for something between both of them, because she's upset between like the bond that they had when it's compared to like the wish that he made. So it seems like he wished for them to be together.
Yeah. So the reaction of the book. This is Yennefer's reaction when she starts realizing that. She goes, "I don't know whether such a wish can be fulfilled. I don't know whether there's such a force in nature that can fulfill such a wish. But if there is, then you've condemned yourself. You condemned yourself to me." That's Yennefer to...
you condemned yourself to me.
Yeah, to Geralt. So it's just weird wording.
Yeah.
So we have no idea, I guess.
That's whatever.
Interesting.
It kind of, in that sense, it kind of cheapens their like love story. In a
Yeah,
way.
but I don't think it's it has to do with that. I think it really was just like save her. And maybe she's thinking more something else. But either way, the Jin episode was pretty decent. I don't know. It's just so. This kind of reminds me of how Netflix does like big budget. Like, you know, I don't know how much money they spent on fucking, what was this movie? Bright? Supposedly they spent a fuck ton of money on Bright.
That movie sucks.
But then it still looks low budget. You know what I mean? There's like big shit going on, but it still looked small. I feel this is the same with this. That's why I kept saying it feels like Hercules or Xena. Like, I know there's budget. I know there's money in here, but I don't see it. It still feels low budget. And I know you hate the comparisons to Game of Thrones, but Game of Thrones also started off low budget, but it still felt big to me. So that's my comparison as far as set pieces and everything, even in the first season. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, so one of the things I absolutely hated in the show was the fucking armor for the Nilfgaard people. That shit looks like a fucking like black scrotum. That shit was disgusting. I'm like watching. I'm like, what the hell is this supposed to be?
So
The armor was awful.
Oh, going back. So one theory of someone has of Geralt and Yennefer's Jin thing, because the Jin can't kill his master. So the Jin says so essentially Geralt probably said like, if you kill Yennefer, you kill me. Some shit like that. So the Jin can't kill Geralt. So if he kills Geralt by association, if he kills Yennefer by association, he kills Geralt. And the Jin can't do that. So I think that's that one theory says that he did that. So he's like, oh, I'm forever tied to her in that sense. So maybe if Yennefer ever dies, Geralt will probably die also. Maybe that's what it was. I'm not sure.
That's an interesting
That's the theory.
But that's still, see,
So
see,
he
see
wished-
Orlando. It doesn't have to do with the love.
So he wished that if she dies, he dies. That's what he wished for.
Essentially.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's just a theory though. It's not canon.
I think that's a pretty good one. I'll take it. So there you have it. So Armando, what do you think of the armor for?
I didn't give a fuck.
I thought it was awful.
A lot of people say that about the Nilfgaard's armor. I'm like, I don't care, dude.
That shit was so stupid looking, dude.
The showrunner says she is going to change the armor in the next season. She said she's heard a lot of complaints of it.
What was it about them that like they wanted to like they're on like a conquest tour?
They're religious.
They're pretty much going through the Crusades.
Yeah.
Their version of the
okay.
Crusades. They're like, oh my God, everyone must worship the God that we worship. Everyone else is, yeah,
Essentially.
pretty much that. And that's why all the mages were essentially killing themselves for that extra bit of magic. Like the super strong magic The reason why no one else does it because no one else wants to fucking die.
Yeah.
But if you have a group of religious zealots that are down for the cause, they're gonna give their life for all that magic. So that's
Yeah.
why those mages were super OP because they were killing themselves.
Yeah.
They were essentially allying themselves during the battle. That's what they were doing.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see how they were doing that, like the fireballs or even the smoke where he added the fog, and then
He just fucking dies.
and then I don't know if this was an item or if they did it with magic, but the worms that were doing the mind control, like all that was fucking cool.
And
so I like that episode a lot because you finally got to see the mages kicking ass. Because I remember there's a scene very early on where Yennefer's trying to protect this baby. And I'm just like, girl, you know all this magic and you're just running. You're running constantly. I'm like, why don't you go and fight back?
Opening portals.
Opening portals. I'm like, why don't you just keep fighting? Like, you know? And then in here, you actually see her whooping ass and you see everyone else like kicking ass. So
Well,
I was like, oh, that's awesome.
The reason why I knew she wasn't whooping ass in the beginning is because the very first episode when you get introduced to the mages, you're like, oh, you have to sacrifice something for this power. So if you remember when she like, oh, move this rock, and then that girl's hand withers.
Well, yeah.
So I'm just like, I felt like, oh, I'm seeing this. They don't use magic in a that powerfully.
They use like Full Metal Alchemist.
So they won't hurt themselves. So I think that's why when she was doing that, I understood why she was doing that, because she could easily create the portals herself. She's like, I might as well run away from this instead of killing myself for this. Like, I don't give a fuck about these people, you know?
But then at the end, she goes all fucking hell and fire and brimstone, and she was still fine.
That's the sacrifice, I guess. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I didn't take that as a negative thing. But what I did find pretty cool was that mage, the girl, what's her name? The Nilfgaard mage.
Yeah.
That she went super evil, because at the beginning, like, she's just like this little wimpy person, or like,
so the reason
unsure of herself.
The reason why I think she went super evil is because she was pissed that she was given that station.
Well, she got fucked over by Yennefer.
Right, exactly. So it was pretty much just like, you know what? Fuck all of you. So
Yeah. Yennefer essentially fucked her over because Yennefer was supposed to go somewhere else. I think Yennefer was supposed to go to Nilfgaard.
yeah,
And she was supposed to go where Yennefer went.
Yeah, so Nilfgaard is essentially the shithole kingdom, and then she went to the prestigious, greatest, best one, which, ironically was the one that was trying to kill her.
Yeah.
Well, kill the child, and she wasn't going to let that happen.
Yeah, essentially.
Because she can't have a kid. So yeah, I don't know. There was so much interesting story with Yennefer's like entire arc, while Geralt was essentially an observer the entire time. He's just there. Like, he was really pretty much observing all the time, and he'll just jump in to like choose one side or the other.
But if you think about it,
like the whole banquet. In the banquet, he's just there, kind of neutral,
Yeah,
and
but
then
did you
suddenly
know-
he's like, "Wait a minute."
and that's the thing with the bard. Like, if he wasn't for the bard, he would never be at that banquet, because the bard took him there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, the bard is essential to Geralt's story.
He's essential, but I just thought he was super cheesy. I don't know. There's a certain way that it could have been written or acted that would have made it more natural, but there was just so much. Like, even I remember the second episode where they meet the elves and shit that they're trying to
The
kill.
elves were
not-
terrible actors. I do agree with that one. That one just like, oh, you guys fucking suck.
But that level of acting to me was all over the show. So, except for the main two. Besides the main two, everything else was whatever. So that's why I think it was somewhat. It was overall a decent show, and then there were good parts in there. But yeah,
What did you guys think of Trish?
Triss.
Triss.
She's another sorceress. Remember, I never played the game, so I don't know if she's
Yeah.
supposed to be important or not.
I mean, she becomes basically like a second love interest.
Well, I saw that she was supposed to be a redhead.
Oh,
So that's when I saw her. I'm like, she's not the redhead. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they changed her.
Well, they were supposed to do a lot of changes. Like, Ciri originally was going to be like a black girl, and everyone was like, you better be a fucking white-haired girl. So they did all that shit.
Yeah. But it's funny because, like,
But so she's supposed to be a big part in the story, obviously.
Yeah, she basically. I mean, if I talk about it, it'd be spoilers for like the next season,
Oh,
I
okay.
guess.
Yeah, then don't do that.
Yeah. So.
But she's supposed to be a big part. Okay.
Well,
yeah, she was whatever.
Yeah, it becomes basically towards like the games, like a triangle between the three of them.
Hey,
yeah, it looks fine.
cool.
It blends in.
She cut her hair or something.
No, fake hair.
She added that.
She had a wig on?
So, the whole thing about Trish, right? Because after Tess or Trish.
Trish.
So after it, I was looking into it. I'm like, oh, who's this girl? Why was she so important in this?
Yeah, why
in
was
this-
she mentioned twice in the show?
I looked her up. I'm like, she was supposed to be a redhead, but I know these shows are all trying to be inclusive and shit, but redheads you barely see them on TV. So wouldn't seeing a redhead be inclusivity.
What if they dye this chick's hair red in the next season?
Yeah.
Then she'll be inclusive and a redhead. Bam.
But then you're whitewashing a character.
No,
You're dye-washing a character.
You're red washing a
You're
character.
just giving her red hair. You're not really whitewashing her.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that the term people use for.
Oh, right, yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like if she was supposed to be a redhead, you barely see redheads in TV except for Amy Adams and Jessica Chastain. I'm like, that's it.
and Dallas Bryce Howard, which I
Yeah.
get confused with Jessica Chastain.
You know, that's
And
the three major redheaded actresses you see.
And the girl from Mad Men.
Yeah, but she's
Christina
not in
Hendricks,
anything.
she's not big though.
She's not in anything. Well, yeah, she's. But anyway,
I mean, I don't know. I don't really think that's a big deal.
No, I'm not saying it's a big deal. I'm just saying that inclusivity wouldn't redheads also be inclusivity?
I guess.
Natural redheads?
fair point. Fair point.
Because you know, sometimes South Park said they don't have souls. So I'm just saying
All right, well,
you don't see redheads
you
like
go-
natural redheads in a lot of
you
stuff.
can go boycott that whenever you're ready.
I'm not boycotting anything. I'm just saying that like, wouldn't that be inclusivity too, including a certain?
Disagree.
Yeah.
It's not inclusivity.
It's just hair.
I don't see why they would change her, but the redhead part
Yeah.
isn't a valid argument.
Yeah, and there's not a hatred for redheads other than South Park.
Yeah.
Like, you don't hear people like, yo, fuck this redhead over here. There's none of that. So yeah, it's
Cool. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there,
all right.
seeing what you guys thought.
Yeah. He's just trying to bring a ruckus over here.
Dude never said Black Lives Matter, but out here for supporting redheads. But what about this redhead though in
What
the show?
about Red Lives Matter.
We're Spanish. He's never said anything about Spanish people. Yeah, but this redhead, like,
I mean, you see Spanish people a lot of places, so it's fine. Like I'm a Spanish guy. I mean, I don't give it. Like I could see a Spanish. I could throw a rock and see a Spanish person somewhere.
Well, yeah, we're in Miami. Yeah,
So
you could throw a rock and hit 5 of them.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's nothing outrageous for me. It's like, you know, Star Wars had the biggest Spanish guy, you know, Oscar Isaac. So I'm just kind of like, yeah. Diego Luna was in Rogue One. I mean, like, you know, they're in big franchises. You know what I'm saying?
but the redheads though, they're not in big franchise.
I don't see redheads though
All right, well,
in popular media.
Cool.
redheads matter.
I was looking up the actress that played Trish just to see if she was Latin or not. No,
I think she's Middle Eastern, right?
no.
She's British, but Middle Eastern background.
They don't go into her background. They just say she's born in London.
They don't go into her background. She's something.
Born in London.
Yeah.
Parents are people.
Parents are people too. But yeah, what did you guys think of? Did it surprise you the dragon one, the golden dragon?
You know, I had
That surprised me.
I had a weird feeling that he was a dragon.
Really?
I didn't think you. Yeah,
That never even crossed my mind.
it
There was
crossed my
nothing
mind.
about him that gave up that vibe at all.
Yeah.
It did because he said, "What about gold dragons?" And he was getting all weird. And then the women said, "Oh, he's beautiful." And I'm like, "Oh, he's a shapeshifter of some kind." Because remember, as soon as the
mentioned
women
that.
said that, I went,
Yeah, because like, why are you following them? And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, he's beautiful.
Well, as soon as he said, "Oh, he's beautiful," and then he goes, "Oh, you've never seen gold dragons?" And he did like this weird smile. And then when he let go, I'm like, "Oh, I bet he's flying down there," and he is it. And then when he came out at the end, I went, "Fucking knew it." I don't know. It was weird.
No, I didn't.
I kind of saw that coming.
That never once crossed my mind.
What I did think was the girls were dragons as well. I thought the girls were like the other types of dragons because remember they went through all the other fucking colors.
Yeah,
So I thought they were the other colors, and then they just worshipped him because he's like the albino of it, the gold.
right.
So the fact that they weren't dragons is what made me go, "Oh, never mind. It's just him." But that was my vibe. But I didn't get it till that moment where they said he's beautiful, and that's when it all just started coming to me, and I'm like, "Yep, that's it."
Yeah. So the egg was another golden dragon,
It was just his child, I guess. That's what I took it as.
or was he just protecting
Or
one
he
of the
was just-
final dragons?
yeah.
Like
he's
he
protecting-
hired Geralt because he knew Geralt would protect him basically
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because Geralt has like morals and shit.
Yeah. He's a quite moral character.
I just read something random. Triss Marigold was the cover girl for the Polish edition of Playboy in
You see, there you
2011.
go.
That's very interesting.
Interesting.
A fictional character was.
A lot of wanking going on there.
Yeah. Well, calm it down, Pedro. Let's finish the podcast before you start taking your dick out.
Oh, yeah, she's there.
Orlando, what else? What else did you like about the show, or did not like about the show?
Can we think? I think we talked about most of the things that I enjoyed. I mean, the thing is, the show, plot wise, it doesn't. It's because most of it's like filler for the most part.
Yeah, from what I understand, this season is based off a book called The Last Wish. No. Yes, The Last Wish. So The Last Wish is a collection of small stories. So that's why this felt like small adventures, because that's essentially what it was. And then a little bit of Sword of Destiny that I'm seeing here, which is more of the
grand scheme.
What's her face? The little girl.
Siri.
Series.
Siri, the Siri storyline. So there it is. So that whole adventure of the day type thing, that was the short stories.
I was going to mention,
But I'm usually okay with those types of shows. Like
Yeah.
that's something that I loved about Mandalorian. So
Yeah.
it's just the cheesiness, the writing that was just off about it. There's something off.
I'm not a fan of like that kind of like those kind of stories, of storytelling, especially in TV. But I felt like, at least for the most part, like I felt like even though it was filler, I felt like each episode did add world building. Like a lot of it. I think it was essential compared to like Mandalorian. I feel like it was just
it's just
really-
him roaming.
yeah. We don't need world building for a world we've known our whole lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, so for the most part I enjoyed most of the episodes, because each episode talked about like different factions and different people, and like we got introduced to the elves, and we would learn where they lost their
Yeah.
they lost basically their own kingdom and through a
I'd like to
battle.
know more about that, yeah.
We learned about the fairies. We learned about like just so many other like characters that we just see in the world. So I felt like they did a good job of like showing that.
And you wouldn't know them if it wasn't for Witcher going around.
Right, exactly, and like being part of the shenanigans of it all.
Yeah. I was when I finished my point, I was talking about the bard. I just remember right now. So if it wasn't for the bard is essential to the Witcher, because if it wasn't for the bard, the Witcher would never go to that banquet hall, and the banquet hall he would never have the surprise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the child of surprise.
Right, yeah.
The child surprise.
Right, he even tells him that.
So it's kind of like. So I know people don't dislike the bard, but I feel like he was very important. And after looking at that, I'm just like, I see the point of the bard, and I don't. He doesn't mind. I don't mind him because I get used to him, and the fact that he is important to the Witcher, for me, it's just kind of irrelevant.
I just felt them like a buddy cop kind of thing,
Yeah.
and then it grounds Geralt in terms of emotions.
Right, because he actually did care.
Because he did care. So,
Yeah.
like, you don't see him care about anything. And then finally, for some reason, he cares about this bard.
Yeah.
So,
And the bard is highly involved in his
yeah,
life.
it's a conduit to show, like, Geralt has feelings.
Yeah, the show didn't do a good job of showing how many years have passed, but you assume that they've seen each other through the course of 15 years, maybe? Just to shoot a number out there.
Probably. Because let's say...
Like they've been hanging out once in a while, meeting each other over the course of years.
Yeah.
So that explains why, they're good buds in a way. But to me, the show didn't really do a good job of showing the trek of time. And I know it was kind of to hide the fact that it was multiple timelines.
Yeah, and that's probably the reason why you never sense that,
Yeah, and I never sensed time passed at all. Obviously, Yennefer doesn't age, and The Witcher ages way slower.
Yeah,
but fucking Jaskier looked the same the entire time. I mean, yeah, 10 years I guess wouldn't be that big a difference, but still a little something.
Yeah, and also, I guess
like show up again with a fucking stupid goatee. Be like,
Yeah.
oh, look at that, that's new.
I'm sure the next season we're gonna get to like
it's gonna be linear.
Karen Morgan, whatever. Where is it place?
Kaer Morgan
Karen Morgan, where the Witcher is from, and the
and his Witcher people.
and his Witcher people. I kind of wanted more of that. I like the idea, like they had that Witcher that died like in episode 3 or something,
Yeah.
like right in the beginning.
Yeah.
At first, I thought that was like a con.
I thought the same thing. I thought it was a con, someone pretending to be him to steal. I thought exactly the same thing.
It happens in the game where like they're like, Witcher, you took all our money and he went that way. You like confront the guy, and the guy's like, yeah, I just stole all their money, and like I'm not really a Witcher.
Mhm. I thought the exact same thing.
So I thought it was like that because I played a storyline like that already.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, he was actually a real Witcher.
Once he had the eyes all black, I'm like, oh, he really took a potion, JK.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's and also I found interesting his mom too, the Witcher story, essentially how
Oh yeah, they
his
started getting
mom-
into it at the end.
His mom literally gave him away. But
Right.
what's curious is what's the reason why she gave him away. I don't think they fully said that.
No, they didn't really explain.
No, they
that.
don't. And
They just said that he was the mother gave him away for some reason.
Yeah.
Or like or was he a child of surprise too? Or was girl a child of surprise?
Oh.
You know?
I don't know. It kind of makes like the child of surprise thing, like the fate thing, kind of makes it like it. I'm not sure if like it's like a it's like a paradox where like it's like a rotating thing where like the child surprise is Siri, so bad things need to happen so you can protect Siri.
Well, yes.
So that's why things are terribly going wrong.
Well, yeah, exactly. So the reason why it all went wrong is because he denied her. If he
Right.
would have immediately claimed her when she was born, the kingdom would have been perfectly
Yeah,
fine.
but the queen also denied it. Because he came back to protect her.
Oh, right.
And the queen was like, no, fuck you.
You're right,
She's
you're
my
right.
child.
yeah.
And
So
then that's when
yes. So there it
And it
is.
came
So
out.
pretty much fate stepped in to destroy it so that she can get there. So yes, you're right. That it's it's this weird.
because
It's
girl
this weird almost spell that the
Yeah.
universe, this rule that this universe has, which is
Yeah.
really, I thought it was really cool. It took me a while to figure out what the fuck was going on.
They don't really explain it. It was like
So the
law of
surprise-
surprise, and you're like, what?
It's because if you save a life,
Yeah.
you get to
a
claim
life,
that.
Yeah.
you, as a payment, you're like, oh, you just give me a law of surprise. So it essentially is that it could be anything that surprises you whenever you go somewhere. Like, so let's say I Pedro in the middle of the road, right? I save his life, and it's like, oh, law of surprise.
And then I find
Whatever.
a puppy. I'd be like, "There's your puppy."
There's your puppy.
or it look,
Or your wife made soup and shit. That surprises you. Oh shit, my wife made soup. She never makes soup.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that much
And then
about
that's your thing.
no,
yeah,
it,
it is.
it would count
Yeah.
because
It's anything that surprises you. that you
I
didn't
looked
know.
up something. Apparently, there's a quote in the game where I think Jaskier says you can get, a piece of bread or you can get a baby. It's like,
Yeah.
it's completely random.
It's anything that you did not expect that surprises you.
So that's why when The Witcher says it, he kind of says it like expecting it to be something stupid.
yeah.
Like, oh, something you don't yet have, but you don't even know you have. Oh, maybe it's something,
Yeah, something
maybe,
idiotic.
Maybe it's a dumb ring that you have under
Yeah.
your bed. But
Yeah.
nope, it's a fucking...
It's a baby. Surprise.
And that's why when she barfs, he goes, fuck. So there. So
Yeah, so when he goes back to the queen to claim Ciri, is to protect her because he hears the rumors of Nilfgaard coming, and he's like, "Well, let me take her and protect her while you guys do your thing, and once you guys are safe, I'll bring her back. Don't worry about it." But the
Right.
queen's like, "Fuck you, you're not taking this girl," and
Yeah.
then that's where it all comes. And she tried to trick him with that
right.
girl that wasn't there. So that's how everything, all the bad started happening after that, because her husband died and all that crap. So, yeah, law of surprise, man.
Mhm.
Saved my life, law of surprise, buddy. Watch out.
Nah, it's not. Your life isn't worth for a law of surprise.
Oh.
I'm good.
All right, any last words?
No. Nothing really. I am curious about season 2. I hope they do a better job. I hope they do some course correcting in it.
2021, buddy.
Yeah.
So,
Let's hope so.
2021.
Well, supposedly Vesemir is gonna be in it, and
Who's
Mark
that?
Vesemir is the guy who pretty much trained
he trains all the Witchers.
Witcher. Yeah, he's pretty much like Geralt's like father figure.
Yeah, he's like a grouchy or old man.
Yeah,
So Luke Skywalker.
Mark Hamill wants to.
Mark
play.
Hamill wants to be it. So, and I think that's a flawless choice.
Yeah, it would be pretty good to see him in something different.
Mm-hmm.
I'll enjoy that. Cool. All right, ladies and gents. Hope you enjoyed this review of The Witcher.
Mm-hmm.
Later, guys.
Till next time.
Bye-bye.